Ren's workshop looked like an electronics graveyard had exploded. Circuit boards hung from the ceiling on copper wire, oscilloscopes blinked with alien patterns, and the air hummed with the electric taste of overcharged capacitors. At the center of the chaos, hunched over a jury-rigged array of signal analyzers, Ren worked with the focused intensity of someone trying to map the impossible. "Almost got it," he muttered, soldering connections with hands that barely trembled despite 3 cups of coffee and 0 sleep. "Signal resonance patterns are tricky, but if I can isolate the fragment frequencies." Kael watched from the doorway, fighting the urge to check his hunger meter. The frequency had been unusually quiet since Ghost's revelation about Petrov, no whispered statistics or tactical suggestions. Just an expectant silence that made his skin crawl. "This is insane," Sable said from her position by the window. She'd been pacing for the last hour, her usual composure frayed by too many revelations. "We're talking about hunting other fragment bearers based on technology built from salvaged zone tech." "Not hunting," Ren corrected, connecting the final component. "Mapping. Big difference." He glanced at Kael. "Unless you're planning to drain them all." The question hung in the air like smoke from a funeral pyre. Kael could feel Ghost watching him from her corner, those dark eyes measuring his response. "No," he said quietly. "I'm not." Disappointing, the frequency finally spoke, its voice carrying sullen irritation. "Integration would be more efficient with additional resources." Ren activated his device with a flourish. The workshop filled with the whine of warming electronics, and holographic displays materialized above the central array. At first, they showed nothing but static, random patterns of light and noise. Then the chaos resolved into something beautiful and terrible. A three-dimensional map of Earth rotated slowly above the apparatus, continents outlined in soft blue light. But scattered across the globe were 5 points of brilliant white radiance, each one pulsing with its own distinct rhythm. "Holy shit," Ren breathed. It actually worked. One signal blazed from their current location, that was Kael. The others were scattered across impossible distances. One in what looked like Eastern Europe. Another in the Australian outback. A third somewhere in the South Pacific. The fourth. Antarctica. Sable leaned closer, studying the coordinates. "What's a fragment bearer doing in Antarctica?" "For active signatures confirmed," the frequency announced with sudden excitement. "Fragment location data acquired. Reunion protocols available." "Reunion?" Kael felt his blood turn cold. "What do you mean, reunion?" But the fragment wasn't listening to him anymore. Its attention had turned outward, reaching toward the other signals with desperate hunger. The holographic display flickered, and new text began scrolling across Ren's monitors. Coordinates. Precise geographical locations. Distance calculations and optimal travel routes. "It's giving us directions," Ren said in wonder. Actual coordinates to the other fragment bearers. Ghost materialized beside the display, her abilities finally stable enough for intentional phasing. "Why would it help us find them? What does it gain?" The answer came not in words but in sensation. Kael felt the frequencies longing like a physical ache, a desperate need to reconnect with the scattered pieces of itself. It had been torn apart during the fracture, separated from its other components for nearly 50 years. It wanted to go home. "Don't trust it," Ghost warned, her voice sharp with experience. Petrov's fragment got cooperative near the end too. Started offering information, promising shared power. Made him think they were partners instead of predator and prey. Fragment 5 lacks perspective, the frequency responded with disdain. "The mirror reflects only what it observes. We seek synthesis, not domination." "What's it saying?" Sable asked. That the other fragment, the one that controlled Petrov, was different. Less sophisticated. Kael studied the pulsing signals, each one representing another person like him. Another host carrying an alien intelligence. It claims to want cooperation, not conquest. Claims being the operative word, Ghost said dryly. Ren was already taking readings, his instruments tracking the signal patterns. The emissions are definitely fragment-based. Same harmonic signature as Kael's, but each one has its own personality, I guess. Like they're all pieces of the same song played in different keys. The Eastern European signal pulsed brighter suddenly, drawing their attention. On Ren's secondary monitor, tracking data began scrolling past at alarming speed. That one's moving, Ren said, his voice rising with excitement and fear. Fast. Really fast. Sable leaned over his shoulder, reading the trajectory calculations. Her face went pale. How fast? Military transport fast. Maybe faster. Ren's fingers flew across his keyboard, refining the calculations. Current heading suggests. He paused, double-checking the numbers. It's coming here. Directly toward Blackthorn. The workshop fell silent except for the hum of electronics and the distant sound of their own breathing. On the holographic map, the approaching signal moved with deliberate purpose, a predator that had caught a scent. Fragment 5 approaches, the frequency confirmed with something that might have been satisfaction. The mirror seeks its reflection. Reunion accelerates. ETA? Ghost asked quietly. Ren swallowed hard, his face illuminated by the malevolent glow of the approaching signal. 3 days.